Hi everyone, hope you are doing good. Welcome to the next video on my YouTube channel. My name is Saurabh Bharti, Microsoft Dynamics 365 Professional. This is my channel where I come and share my knowledge and experience with you all. So without further delay, let's start today's topic. So today's topic is about the functional consultant skill set series which we are running. It has been a while I have posted a last video. So the last video which we have posted in this particular series was about the fit gap analysis. So we were talking about the initiation phase or of the project, and we were talking about the requirement gatherings. Now this is the next video where we will be talking about something called as functional design document, for which a functional consultant is responsible. So we are going to explore this particular topic today. So this is just a quick recap what we have done till now. So we have covered the requirement gathering process end to end, and as a result of that we are able to document all our requirement in the Azure DevOps or any other template which we are following for your requirement documentation. So that has been done. That's a prerequisite for this. You have performed a fit gap analysis and you have identified that out of those requirements how many are fit which can be achieved out of the box, and how many requirements you have as a gap for which you need to plan the development. And the functional design documents are created for the gaps which you have identified as part of your requirement gathering process. Now if I talk about what is the design document, so we are going to talk about the functional design document, but if we talk about what is the design document, so the design document designed from a business perspective, including the business processes, use cases, and the requirement, and it tells you how the solution should work. So if you want to talk about the key points, so it is created in a design phase of the project. So functional consultants are responsible for doing this. Created for all the identified gaps based on the category. So if you have a category of reports, integration, functionalities, features, so created based on the category. Explains everything from the business process perspective, how things will work, should be signed off by the business stakeholders. And a key important thing is the well-written FDD includes essential system elements such as input, data, operations, workflows, output displays, and how the system conforms to regulatory requirement. Now if we talk about the typical information which should be gathered as part of, or which should be documented as part of our design document, that we should have a clearly written scope of the project, organization hierarchy and the functional responsibilities, description of business processes, architecture solution design, security requirements if we have it, extra functionality for the solution, any impact on the reporting, any impact on the integration, and any impact on the data migration. So the design document is very critical for any functional consultant in any project, and a well written and well drafted design document can help you in delivering the successful solution to the customer. Why it is required? So if you have a design document written in a project, it brings the efficient development, so that your developer can look at the design document and complete the technical work what is required to deliver that. For active testing, so tester can test based on the requirement you have documented, and they can find out the issues if there are. Stakeholders confidence, because it has been documented, it is very well written that what is expected as a functionality, and the requirement tracking is also available for you. Types of design documents. This is very important for us. Normally most of the organization divide their design document into multiple parts, but many times it has happened like everyone calls a single document function design document. But for a clarity perspective, you can categorize the design documents into three parts for a functional consultant. One is the FDD, functional design document, RDD, report design document, IDD, integration design document. Now, all these documents have most of the things common in place. Most of the sections will be common, but due to the nature, there are few sections which would require additional information or additional consideration to be written and to be documented. So we can categorize these three. We can categorize the design document in these three broad categories. Based on our design document, whether we create a FDD, RDD or IDD, the technical team is going to create a technical design document where they are going to write everything related to the technical development perspective, what forms they are going to modify, what tables they are going to do, what logic, what in technical infrastructure they are going to use. So all those things they will be writing in the technical design document, and that is not a responsibility of functional consultant. That is the responsibility of a technical consultant. If you move it we are talking about the functional design document today. I will be talking about the report design document and the integration design document in future videos. So let's talk about the functional design document. So functional design document is majorly focused on any functionality or the feature development within the Dynamics 365, as the name itself suggests, and other two are focused on anything which is a report related or the integration related. Apart from that, if you have anything, you can cover as part of your functional design document. Now, if we talk about the functional design document, there are some key aspects which we need to consider, and these aspects, as I said, are also required for your other document, the RDD and the IDD as well. So one of the thing is that in your functional design document, when you write anything, you should be talking about the business process which is getting impacted and where you have identified the gap. So you should write that business process and highlight where that gap exists and why that gap exists. Did we had any alternative solution for that to avoid the development? So if yes, then we can highlight that. So we need to explain end-to-end business process in the area or the place where that business process is having the gap. The next thing is solution design. Now to fulfill that gap, so now we understood this business process, we understood what is the gap, why there is a gap due to the system functionality. But then we talk about what is the solution design we are suggesting to fulfill that gap. What development, what design we are proposing. So that we need to talk about. Now, any design which we are proposing, it can be anything. What is the impact of security? So do we need any new security role? Do we need any new privilege duty to be created? If yes, we should document that. Do we have any reporting impact? So if I am adding a field on the form on a transaction, if that is captured as part of the transaction, if I am generating any report based on that, do we require this field to be reflected on the report? If yes, then which are the imports which are impacting, and we should list down and we should accommodate as part of our reporting requirements. Do we have any impact on the data? So if you are having data migration activity or anything related to data, do we have any impact of this particular functionality which we are designing having any impact on the data? If there is, we should list out that. Do we have any impact on the integration? We need to list out that as well. So these are the broadly major areas which we need to consider, and we need to write a clear document, and we need to draft the document very clearly to cover all these areas in our functional design document. So try to address each and every aspect of design, Do not leave any open-ended design or open-ended question in the document. And most importantly, keep solution design lean, simple. Let's not make a complex design which might create an issue during the trainings and the user adoption. So these are the things which we need to keep in mind whenever we are writing a functional design document, or we are writing a report design document or integration design document. Let's talk about one example. So I have created a one Word document where I have listed all these sections, and which I have not filled it. I have not written anything on that, but I would like to explain you the sections or the content which you can have in the functional design document. And just understand one simple requirement if you have, and let's say we identify this requirement as a gap, that customer is asking that ability to capture customer PO number on the sales order and customer transactions for the posted invoice against the sales order. This field should be filterable field on the customer transactions, and AR user should be able to perform the settlement based on the customer PO. So this is the requirement. You need to design the document. So that can be your homework. Based on the structure which I'll explain you, you can go and try to draft a functional design document for this functionality, and you can test it out. So let me show you the design document which I have prepared. Let me switch it to the Word document. Just a minute. Give me a moment. Okay. So here is a simple document which I have prepared. So you will have a header page, the main page, where you can have a project name and things. Now many times people ask, like I have seen people asking me, can you send us a FDD format or something? I do not generally share any FDD format because most of the organization has its own format to follow for FDD. So it is very organization basis, because if you are creating any functional design document in the finance area, you cannot have your own FDD format than the supply chain or any other. So there has to be a consistency. So your organization need to have a consistent format. Now this is a sample document which I am presenting. You might have additional sections and things to be added, but this will give you the idea, if you do not have a format, that how you can create your own format. So you have a header page talking about the project, and then you can have a design document heading and put out the requirement against which you are putting, and the ADO reference if you have it. Then you should have a history for the version control perspective, so that you can list out who created which version, when it was created, and what are the changes if there are. You should have something for the document review and the sign off, who is reviewing, what is the role in the project, what action they took, and on which date. If there are some document reference, let's say you have a ADO reference of the requirement, if it is impacting any other FDD, you should list out that, any business process. So any reference you have, you can list it out here, so that if someone is reading that and they see the impact on other work items or other places, they can just look at this document and navigate there. You can put out something for abbreviations, so that which you are using throughout the document, so it helps readers to understand what you are trying to explain, and what are the explanation for those abbreviations. Now if you move, then you will have a content, which is table of content. So I have divided. Now if you see this content, I have divided into three parts. One is the introduction part, then the design part, and the functional testing. In all three design document, functional, reporting, and ITT, your introduction and the functional testing is going to be the common. The only thing which will change most probably will be the design part, and we will be talking about that, what is going to change in the design section. Do we need to add a new section or new content, or what? We will be talking in the future videos when we are talking about. Now, but let's talk about this. What is there in the introduction? So under the introduction, you have 7-8 sections where you need to talk about what is the purpose of this document, what is the objective and the scope of this particular document. So you should explain that. You should be also talking about in the section 1.2 of the introduction, second part, where what is the business process and what is the gap. So explain that, okay, this is take an example of this. Our business process is, let's say, sales order process and the sales order invoicing process, and there we can talk about what is the gap, why we have identified this gap. So we can talk about that. Then we can put an overview of the proposed solution, that what is the solution we are proposing, what is the high level solution. We can propose a VCU process diagram here, that okay, how this solution is going to work. We can create a process flow diagram, and we can put some examples if we have it. Then it is very important for us to put some prerequisites and the constraints if we have it. We need to add some assumptions if we are assuming something on while developing this functionality or when this functionality will work. You need to also put the impacted areas and the applications, that okay, because of the sales order processing, my customer transactions, customer settlements process is getting impacted, account receivable is getting impacted, and if I am having any other application impacted, I can put that also. Then I can put something on my configuration changes required. So to accommodate this design, if I need to make any configuration changes, I should list out here. And then if I have any non-functional requirements like a performance and all, I can list out that here. So that is the first section, which is introduction, which gives the high level view about what is the objective and the scope, what business process we are talking, where is the gap, what is the high level solution, and what are the assumptions and the configuration changes we are expecting. Now comes to the second section, which is about the design, where we define each and everything, and this section is very important for us, and we should be drafting this section very carefully, and we should try to list out everything. So in the design section, you should talk about what is the overview of the design, high level design. Is there any data requirement? If yes, then what data requirement is there for the solution to work? What are the user interfaces changes are there? So if you need a one form to be created, then you need to put a form. What fields need to be there on the form? What should be the name of the field, length of the field, type of the field? All those things with the screenshot, navigation, everything you should be providing for user interface changes. If required, you can break down the 2.3 section into 2.3.1, 2.3.1, and put that, okay, this is the screenshot, the navigation. Then you talk about the fields which should be there on the form. You should talk about, let's say, the field types which should be there. If there is any button is required or any processing is required from the user interface perspective, all those things you need to specify. Then in the next section, you should talk about the business logic and the rules, that how this particular design should work. So let's take an example which we are talking, put our customer PO. So we should put a logic that there should be a field, it should be saved. Once it is invoiced, it should go to the customer transactions, it should flow from there. If the order status is invoiced or the shipped, then it should be disabled. So any such things, the rules that how the business logic should work for that particular functionality, you need to talk about that. Then you need to talk about the security roles. Most of the times it will have like which privilege security you want to create, or you want to add to an existing one, then specify that which one you want to have. Then I have added everything into one. You have workflow reporting or data entity changes if required. So let's say if you are importing the sales orders based using the data entity, and if your data and if you are adding a new field on that sales order, now you might also need to consider to add this field into data entity. So that will require a data entity change. So if any change on the workflow reporting and data entity or any other places, you should highlight that. If there is any error handling required, then you should add that also. So that is about the design of the overall solution for that gap which you have identified that you should be talking about. Then the last section is about the functional testing, which is very important. You should list out all the test cases which you think your test team should be testing against this particular. So once you provide this document, it will go to the technical team. They will read this document, the introduction and design section, and they will develop the functionality based on that. And then it will be passed on to the test team, who will be looking into the functional testing section, and then they will be running these test cases. So you can write a test case, what is the test case description, and then what is the expected output. You have it. So once you put this thing together, this is going to make your functional design document. As a functional consultant, it is a very critical document for us to design, and it is expected from every functional consultant to write the functional design document. And as a functional consultant, if you understand how critical and important and how to write a correct FDD, crisp and clear FDD, you have improved a lot on your skill set. Okay, so that's about your functional design document, and that's it for this video. We will be talking about rest of the design document in the future videos. Hope this is going to help you in understanding what is a design document, the categories of design document, and what content you should write under these document, the functional design document, and how you should keep what are the key things you should keep in mind when you are writing this document. That's it for this video. Hope this helps you, and see you in the next one. Thank you.